morning, good afternoon, guys. We are back for another episode of Subplot. It is I, Mike, joined by always Aaron. And you can see us on the screen because, we're doing this again.
Yeah.
It goes without saying.
Yeah, it seems to be working out, so
yeah,
why not?
So we're going to continue to bring video format as well as audio. And hello to audio listeners, because that was totally irrelevant to you. So
that was.
Woohoo. So today we're here to talk about Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2.
Which isn't actually a sequel.
Yeah.
It's a sequel in the
name
Heisei
only.
series, but it's not like they had to throw the 2 on there because there's already a Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla.
Right.
So they couldn't call it the same thing again.
Yeah, it's not tied to Mechagodzilla 1.
Which I always thought that it was, and then I watched it, and I was like, oh, no, it's not.
Yeah. Sorry, thought my phone was vibrating. So yeah, and the other one that I don't.
Godzilla versus Space Godzilla.
Oh, right. Yeah. He's right there.
Yes.
They're all right here. Introduce our friends.
Yes, we have Moguera. Not the one from the Mysterians, but from Space Godzilla.
Yeah.
Space Godzilla, Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, and Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla 2, which it's not actually the second Mechagodzilla, it's the first.
Oh.
Because that's, in that universe, that's the first Mechagodzilla ever.
Right.
Which is made out of Mecha Ghidorah. But we'll get to that.
Right, yeah. So...
as for news, there is a lot of news, but we're deciding not to cover it because it's showing way too much spoilers.
Yeah.
There is a ton of stuff for Godzilla vs. Kong. They have like 30 trailers out now that
30,
have just showed half the movie, and I refuse to watch them.
I'm not as...
Go ahead.
I'm not as like... I'm not worried about it, or not that you're worried about it. I don't really care. I just haven't watched it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I watched the first 3 trailers. That's all I need.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it anymore for myself because I'd like to go into it and enjoy it instead of seeing it all in the trailers and being like, oh, well, I already know that part.
Yeah.
That being said, I have run into a couple of spoilers online. One being an actual picture of, I think it's the SH monster or it's Mechagodzilla from this movie.
Was that toy picture you sent me?
So I mean, that's not a spoiler. I knew about.
Yeah, we know.
I knew about that a year ago when they leaked the images from the Hong Kong Toy Fair.
Right.
So I'm not like, I was more excited when I saw it because I was like, ooh, I was like, they're actually doing it because I believe I've said it before, but that would have been my choice for where the story direction would have gone. Is Godzilla becomes a menace, and then they have to create Mechagodzilla to actually like fight him off. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy that they went that route. But as for anything else, I don't want to see anything until I actually see the movie. Yeah. I'm fine with seeing toys. I just don't want to see the footage. I want to be surprised whenever it comes out.
Yeah, I guess that's what we should have been more specific on. Is we don't want to see the footage.
Yeah. We want to see the movie in full, not fully in the trailers. I guess
I don't want to splice it together.
No, exactly.
Manually.
So I'm thinking that. So we're choosing to not talk about that type of news. So that being said, we're going to jump right into the synopsis of our first movie, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 from 1993.
Which one's that on?
That is that one.
Okay. Because I figure I'll just grab this, because this is not very, very long.
That's right. Yeah, we decided sticking the DVDs up here is not only beneficial for people to see what we're discussing, but also the fact that it has the synopsis written on the back, so it's kind of easier for us to talk about it that way.
And lighting behind it was not very good, so that's why I'm holding it. So, Mechagodzilla 2, it reads, built with the utmost in 20th century technology.
Which is not actually 20th century technology.
Yeah. Mechagodzilla is the ultimate in Godzilla-busting weaponry. Fueled by a nuclear reactor and sheathed, I guess.
There you go.
In a synthetic diamond shield, the mammoth metal robot is Japan's greatest hope for ending Godzilla's reign of terror. Meanwhile, on a remote island, because there's always one of those.
There's always a remote island in Godzilla movies.
On a remote island polluted by nuclear waste, a team of scientists discover a giant egg in a Pteranodon. See, I'm not good at this. Pteranodon nest, and bring it home to study. When baby Godzilla, because they just give that away, when baby Godzilla hatches, both Rodan and Godzilla return to claim the cuddly infant as their own. Will their monstrous material instincts
maternal instincts.
Maternal, oh my god. While their monstrous maternal instincts cause a custody battle capable of destroying Mother Earth, or will Mechagodzilla prove an effective eradicator, leaving baby Godzilla an orphan for life?
So the synopsis actually makes the movie to be way more goofy than it actually is.
Yeah, because
the movie's actually good.
Yeah,
but like that synopsis makes it out to be like the goofiest thing ever.
Yeah,
like you would read the back of that in FYE or something and be like, I'm not watching this. Like,
what the hell is this?
This is garbage.
Yeah.
So we'll jump right into the plot here. They find Mecha King Ghidorah's remains at the bottom of the ocean, and they reverse engineer the technology from the 23rd century to, is it the 23rd or 22nd? I can't remember whether.
I don't remember.
I think it was the 23rd century, but they reverse engineer the technology, and they build Mechagodzilla 2. I always call him Mechagodzilla 2 because like that's what he's always called in the video games and everything.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like I just want to call him Mechagodzilla 2, even.
I mean,
though
call
him
that.
Yeah, I'll just go. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So they build Mechagodzilla 2 with all these advanced weaponries like plasma cannons and all that. And they find the egg on the island, as it was mentioned. And we gave it away in the synopsis. The egg hatches a baby Godzilla. But there's a weird plot point where he's Rodan's half brother because Godzilla laid the egg in the Rodan nest.
Yeah,
and they both hatched out of the same nest. Like it's a little weird, but
half brother.
Yeah, I can overlook it. Because the rest of the movie's just really good. So Mechagodzilla has his first encounter with Godzilla, and they use what they call it. Shock anchors. So they shoot it into like Godzilla's legs and they start like shocking him and it knocks him out, and then he reverses the polarity and supercharges Mechagodzilla and ends up knocking Mechagodzilla down. Godzilla runs free, starts destroying stuff. Meanwhile, we have the plot that's going on with the baby Godzilla, Rodan comes back to life after its initial fight with Godzilla on the island. I guess I left that part out. But Rodan comes back to life through a song.
Oh yeah.
That the kids like. They figure out that like the plants like on the egg. They studied them and found out that they produce music like through their energy. And they like sing the song to baby Godzilla, and it makes him angry, I guess.
Yeah, his eyes start glowing.
Yeah, his eyes start glowing, and that sort of brings Rodan back to life. And so they figure out from the baby, from studying it, that the baby has a secondary brain that later on in life, like in between its like pelvic region. So it has a secondary brain that later in its life, when it grows to full size, will be able to help it walk
Yeah.
Because there used to be a theory that dinosaurs were so large that they needed a secondary brain so that they could control their lower bodily movements.
Mm-hmm.
So they assume that Godzilla has the same thing. So they retrofit the shock anchors to destroy the brain so that they can paralyze Godzilla, and that should kill him. So the only person who can locate that brain is Miki Sagusa, who is that she's the glue that holds this series together from 89 to Destroya.
Right.
So they put her in Mechagodzilla, and they during this fight, they use the baby as a decoy to lure. They were luring Godzilla into the city so that they could attack him with Mechagodzilla, but Rodan shows up, screws up that.
Yeah.
Picks up the container, flies it around, drops it, and Mechagodzilla has to kill Rodan, and succeeds in subduing Rodan. And Godzilla and Mechagodzilla fight. They use the G-Crushers, and Mickey finds the brain. They destroy it, paralyzes Godzilla. Godzilla's basically dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rodan, like baby, I think his eyes glow or he does a roar or something that wakes up Rodan. Rodan uses the last of his energy and flies over to Godzilla, and then just like evaporates through his radiation, reviving Godzilla's secondary brain. Godzilla gets up, is emitting so much radiation that the shielding on Mechagodzilla is melting. Which, like they said, it's made out of synthetic diamond. Which, by the way, the Super X2's fire mirror was synthetic diamond, and we know how that went. So you thought they would have learned, like, oh, that doesn't work. Why would we do it again?
Yeah.
Why did we waste so much more money on building something sheathed in synthetic diamond?
And that one's connected, right?
Yes. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, it's all fluid because of the next movie. Because they mention Biollante. So the brain heals, Godzilla destroys Mechagodzilla in an awesome, like, nuclear pulse / red fire beam attack, and just destroys him.
Yeah.
The crew ejects through an escape pod, and then Godzilla unites with the baby, and they swim off to wherever they go.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the movie. Mike, what parts did you like the most about this movie?
I immediately fell in love with Baby Godzilla.
Most people do.
Yeah. Much more adorable than what was it, Minya?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baby Godzilla, little Godzilla, and well, shit, I'll just tell you, Godzilla Jr. People seem to like him a lot more than Minya.
Yeah. I mean, if Minya was designed differently,
yeah,
like it's just the look of him.
Yeah.
It's not really the stories per se.
No.
But, yeah, that was one of my favorite parts. Was anything with him, because it was just cool to see somebody or a monster in like human size interacting with the humans.
Something that wasn't near as aggressive as Godzilla.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
He was pretty docile. Yeah, he was like a dog,
pretty
or a
much
cat. You know, he just sort of like hung around and just did his own thing.
Any animal that is hatched or born around humans can be tamed.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was almost domesticated when you think about it. Like he was born literally in a lab surrounded by humans, and they cared for him the entire time until the end of the movie.
So I mean, like, yeah, I really liked seeing that. I don't know, like, I remember 77 Mechagodzilla like the back of my hand, probably because I saw it as a kid a bunch of times, but like nothing like really stood out to me too much about this Mechagodzilla.
No, he's kind of like more bland.
Yeah,
like he's not. And I think the thing that, because Mechagodzilla is typically the villain, but they flip flop like the Terminator. Like they make him a hero, and you're like, I still like it, but it's like I kind of liked him better as a villain.
I guess I was supposed to be saying favorites, not what I'm about. But
well, we're doing both.
Yeah,
we're doing nitpicks and.
I think this is the one that had, or was it the next one? I don't know. You'll remember when I said it. When Godzilla emerges, was it this one? Like when he comes out of the water?
No, I think you said it about Space Godzilla
that
you like that one a lot.
Yeah.
I like his emergence in this one because Rodan's up on the cliff.
Oh yeah.
And he's like taunting the humans, and he's about to like fly down and like attack them, and then you start seeing the water bubbling, and then the beam shoots out and just hits the cliffside that Rodan's on, and he flies away. I like that.
Yeah.
I think that this movie's very well directed. It's very well shot too. I always liked this movie when I was younger, but going back and rewatching it, I'm like, this is pretty solid. Like,
yeah, it's more well put together.
Yes, it's better structured. Honestly, like it has a story and a flow to it.
Yeah, you
don't spend too much time with this character versus this character. Everything is well balanced.
Yeah, as much as I love Godzilla in general, I do have a hard time, like keeping my interest in some of these movies.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because like they'll either get too technical with something that you're just like, okay, I'm bored. Like, like I don't care. Like this is a problem for you humans in the movie that doesn't really affect the story. So why are you wasting all this time on it?
Yeah, and this is a good example of, where I care what the humans are doing.
Yeah, it's very well balanced. And for having 4 monsters in it, I'm not really counting Baby as a monster.
Right.
But, like, for having Rodan, Mechagodzilla, and Godzilla, it's like, oh, well, that's pretty well balanced for that. Like, you almost forget Rodan is... You think Rodan's dead at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And then midway through, he comes back, and you're like, oh, I forgot about Rodan. I forgot Rodan was even in this movie.
Well, I think I even said... like, we went to the Baby Godzilla stuff, and then we went back to Mechagodzilla, and I was like, oh yeah, this is a Mechagodzilla movie.
yeah, because Mechagodzilla just gets the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah.
And then they have to repair him and everything, and then they add, like, Garuda onto him and all that.
Yeah.
Like, Aoki tells the one professor, he's like, hey, like, I think we can attach Garuda to Mechagodzilla. Like, it'd make him even more powerful. And they're like, oh yeah, it could work. He's like, let's do it. So they make... by the way, that one is called Super Mechagodzilla.
Oh.
When he has Garuda attached to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I won't waste a lot of time on like talking about like everything that I like, because there's a lot that I like about this movie.
Yeah, I mean, this one is just good.
It's solid. Like I know I've preached to you that I love 85 and Biollante.
Yeah. But
this is very close. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just very well put together. It's very well put together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we might just be able to jump into ratings on this one.
Yeah. It's just great. So, I mean, if anybody's here to, like, learn what ones to watch.
Yeah, this is definitely one on the list.
You have to watch this one.
Yeah. And we should mention that you should watch the others in this series of movies. So you should start with 84 and work your way up to the... Basically, if you're...
I think the... what's this era called?
The Heisei.
Heisei. I was going to say that, but I didn't want to be wrong. Like, has there been really a bad one yet?
No, there really hasn't. Aside from King Ghidorah.
Okay, yeah.
King Ghidorah, and I won't even say it's bad. It's weaker.
Yeah,
it's definitely weaker. But like, if you don't want to watch every Godzilla movie, which I'm sure, unless you have absolutely nothing better to do with your time to sit down and watch 35 movies, be my guest. But if you really want to watch like a continuation series, start with 85 and go to Destroya, because they're all in continuity with one another, which is nice. Because when we watch the Showa series, there really isn't any connecting tissue there. And that's nice with this. And I was thinking about this after we watched Space Godzilla and we let it breathe a little bit. I was like, it has a good continuational story.
Yeah.
They may not touch on what happened previously, or if they do, they don't spend a lot of time on it, which is nice. They don't like recap. They're just like, they're like, you know what happened. Like, let's just move on.
Yeah.
But it does a good job at doing a continuational series, which I like.
Yeah.
You want to rate it first?
Yeah, I'll go first. We need to make a list. This is just kind of thinking out loud on the podcast. We need to make a list of our previous ratings, because like I don't remember what I rated my favorites.
Yeah.
But in the moment right now, I feel like this is one of my favorites. I'm gonna go 8 out of 10.
That's I also would give it an 8 out of 10.
All right.
And you know what? I'm gonna go 8.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm gonna go 8.5 out of 10 because this movie, when you jump into it, it feels like it has a lot going on. But like I said, it's extremely well balanced. Mm-hmm. They do a great job of capturing, and you know, this is part of the series too that they do a great job at making Godzilla a character. Like I know the Showa series does it well too, but this is a series that makes Godzilla feel, and maybe it's because like growing up with this era of them, that I enjoy it a lot more because Godzilla doesn't feel like a person in a suit. He feels like a character in the movie.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
This is one of those ones, like, there wasn't even one moment that was like, that's a guy in a suit.
Yeah, no, like, and that's the thing. To me, at least, like, growing up watching these movies, people are like, ooh, like, it's just a guy in a rubber suit.
Right.
And I'm like, I know that, but when you sit down and watch the movie and you immerse yourself in it, you're like, it's a character.
Yeah.
It's not a guy in a suit. It's a character. And the guy in the suit is doing a great job at portraying that character.
Not to turn this into any sort of wrestling, but that's like the same thing that people would be like, well, it's all fake. Okay, but they're telling me a story.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what's fake? Your movies are fake.
Yeah. Basically everything in our lives
it's
is
basically
fake.
Live,
we're just entertained.
It's basically live theater is what wrestling is.
Exactly.
Anyway, that rant's over. But
no, you're absolutely right. And these movies kind of are wrestling matches when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's two titans going up against each other, and I mean, half of them. No, I'm sorry, it's not even half of them. Most of them are versus movies. Yeah. So it's kind of like the title match.
Yeah,
You're building up to it.
Some of the old posters, it honestly it looks like old promotional posters for wrestling.
Yeah.
Like they were almost drawn up the same way.
Yeah. So that was Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. We're going to move on to 1994's Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. In this supernatural, superpowered Godzilla adventure for the 90s, Japan's secret military bureau implants a telepathic amplifier in Godzilla's brain in order to bring the monster under control. In a faraway galaxy, the mutant Space Godzilla turns its evil eyes toward Earth, planning to destroy Godzilla and conquer the planet for its own. For its own. Will Japan's greatest enemy, Godzilla, become its savior? We'll tune in next week and find out.
Same bat time, same bat time.
So, yeah, that's the synopsis of Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. Which, according to a lot of people... just to preface this, I have always loved Space Godzilla, and this was a movie I didn't actually watch until I was in high school when I found the DVD. I've just always loved the look of Space Godzilla. Is this his only appearance,
or did he come back later?
Nope, Space Godzilla is only in one movie.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is... I don't know. It's just... This design for Space Godzilla is so cool, and I've always loved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never watched this movie until I was in high school, and it's pretty good. So we'll jump into the plot here. So there is another meteorite. We open on another meteorite.
Yeah.
That crashes into the ocean near the island that Godzilla.
Oh yeah, like fucking wakes him up.
Yeah, just like Godzilla versus Mothra.
Yeah.
So that happens, and then the military, as was discussed in the synopsis, has created a secret plan called Project T, Project Telepathy, in which they are going to implant a telepathic amplifier. Like, it's basically like a little satellite dish on the back of Godzilla's head that they can control him.
Yeah. It's basically the other side of Cerebro.
Pretty much.
Or a reverse Cerebro.
And we have there's another organization working under them unknowingly that they're like part of the Japanese mafia, like the Yakuza, that they want to use Godzilla to destroy.
Yeah.
For the mafia, I guess. Like, I don't know. That part just kind of lost me a little bit.
Yeah.
But they go to the island where Godzilla and little Godzilla, we find out baby Godzilla has grown in time to become a little Godzilla who's much more cutesy than anything.
Yeah.
And
the design's a little different. I mean, he grows.
Yeah.
Obviously, he grew like, I don't know how big he is per se, but
yeah. And Space Godzilla is not on Earth yet, but he like sent a probe, I'm gonna call it, that starts building like his type of environment on the island, because the guys from the G-Force they see like all the crystals like opening and closing and all that, and they basically we'll just fast forward through this stuff. Godzilla shows up. They plant the telepathic amplifier. Miki Sagusa tests it. It works. They can control Godzilla. Space Godzilla shows up and fights with Godzilla a little bit and imprisons little Godzilla in the crystal like fortress, and then he flies away. So Godzilla can't get him out, so he has to go find Space Godzilla and kill him in order to get little Godzilla out. In the meantime, Moguera, this takes place before Godzilla and his fight.
yeah.
They send Moguera, which is basically like another Mechagodzilla, but with way more weapons.
Yeah.
And he can split and transform into Land Moguera and Star Falcon.
Mobile Operations G-Force Universal Expert Robot.
Yep.
Arrow.
It's like MODOK. So Moguera flies into space to fight Mechagodzilla, or Jesus Christ, fight Space Godzilla. He loses, of course. They have to retreat. Space Godzilla comes down, gets in his fight with Godzilla, and now we're caught up to present with that. So Godzilla flees, and they kidnap Miki Sagusa. The Japanese mafia does, with the professor who developed the project, and they're going to use her to do their bidding with Godzilla. And in the meanwhile, Space Godzilla lands in, where is it? Where does he land? I can't remember the name of the city. There's a big tower in it. I remember that. Fukuoka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I don't
know. So he uses the Fukuoka Tower as like a lightning rod to conjure up his crystals and everything. He's basically terraforming Earth to his own specifications. And he's starting in Fukuoka, and if they don't stop him, then he's just going to take over the entire world. So the big end climactic battle is Moguera and Godzilla have to fight against Space Godzilla, and they have to take down the tower first, and Land Moguera helps with that because they drill underground, blow up the structural beams underneath, and then Godzilla takes down the tower. And then Moguera uses spiral grenades out of the, like, he has, like, things that open up like this.
Yeah.
And he uses those to blow up the crystals on Space Godzilla's back. So when they blow those up...
Is that his source of power?
Yeah, and then he basically starts to go into, like, a self-destruct mode where he's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
And Godzilla, emits more radiation. And I'm guessing he can just, like, start to do this at will at this point. Mm-hmm. Because of Rodan, because he kind of channels that same energy, and then he uses the red spiral beam and blows up Space Godzilla, killing him, and then we find out at the end that little Godzilla's free from the prison, and Godzilla swims back to the island, and that's kind of
right off in the sunset again.
Yep, that's kind of it.
Just a little more on Space Godzilla, because I don't remember if you said it. He is made from cells of Godzilla.
I was just about to get to that.
Yeah.
So that they surmised that he does use Godzilla cells, and they said that the only 2 times that Godzilla cells were transported into space was one by Biollante, who, for those of you who don't remember, vaporized and kind of like took off into space, or a fragment of Godzilla's skin from Mothra, who also went into space to destroy the asteroid, who we see in this movie.
Yeah.
So it's not like out there.
Only for like one little thing, right?
Yeah, there's one scene, or there's 2 scenes with the fairies.
Right.
And one scene with Mothra and the little Mothras, the fairy Mothras that come off of her.
Uh-huh. Was it in Mechagodzilla where we see the twins, or was it the beginning of this
Space
one?
Godzilla.
Okay.
Yeah, the twins are never.
Because I remember you saying.
Oh no! In the ESP research facility,
right?
There are 2 twins that are played by the same actresses.
Yeah.
Who showed up, and I said to you when we watched it, they show up and they both say at the same time, they're like, "Hello, Mickey," and I was like, I was like, why are they talking like that? And then I looked closer and I was like, oh my god! I was like, it's the same actresses who are the fairies.
Yeah, because as you,
I didn't catch it. You caught that.
As you realized that, I'm in the process of being like, is that the Mothra twins?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they did like a cameo type of thing there. So personally, I think that it was Biollante.
Okay.
I think it could have been Mothra, but I think it's more likely it's Biollante, and I'll say it for one reason: the tusks.
Okay.
On Space Godzilla, because Biollante has the same type of tusks.
Oh yeah, Biollante was very teethy.
Yeah. So that's the only reason I say that is
that's a good observation. Yeah.
Because I'm like, it has more in common with the design of that,
and the way he can basically shape shift.
Yeah.
From like the more crystallized flying Space Godzilla.
And that's the other thing that I think about too is like the cells that were used to make Biollante were mutated again.
Right.
So it only makes sense that those were the cells that were able to mutate into a living form of Space Godzilla.
Right. Yeah.
So that's my theory. Anyway.
Yeah.
I love Space Godzilla's design. I love his powers.
I was going to take a second. Yeah, I was going to take a second and kind of.
I even love Moguera.
Oh yeah,
and Moguera, like, they don't focus too much time on Moguera. Like, Moguera isn't at the forefront of the movie. Like,
I mean, most of his appearance is the battle. Really.
Yes, and they don't even like. They don't spend a lot of time where they're like, well, we decided to make another Godzilla weapon and all this. Yeah. Like, they're just like, we made another one, deal with it.
Hey,
like,
we made another one.
Yeah.
Great.
They're like, we salvaged what we could from Mechagodzilla and just made another one.
Yeah.
They don't spend a lot of time on that, but Moguera has a lot of really cool weapons. But yeah, I really like Space Godzilla's design. I love his powers.
One thing I wanted to point out specifically, I mean, you can look up pictures online, but the crystals on his tail.
Oh yeah,
like
which
that's
he
a hell
uses
of a
to
weapon.
Spear Moguera, because Moguera shoots off one of the crystals off of his back with the spiral grenade, and then Space Godzilla whips around and like spears him with the crystals in the tail through the like midsection of it, and then just throws him across the city. Yeah. I was like, yeah, that's badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else did you like about this movie?
I mean, really, my favorite part was just the battle sequence.
Yeah, the battle sequence is cool. There's a lot of build up to it too, because Godzilla's like moving through, and like Space Godzilla and Moguera have a small battle while Godzilla's on his way, and then Godzilla shows up. While this movie doesn't have an Ifukube score, I felt that Takayuki Hattori did a good job of like building that heroic theme for Godzilla, like when he shows up to fight Space Godzilla. Because remember, we were watching it and I was like, here he is, because like they showed the shot of Godzilla and there were crystals like near him. And I was like, here he comes. I was like, he's coming to save the day. And this is definitely one of those movies. Like the last movie, Godzilla was the menace.
Yeah.
In this movie, he's the hero.
Right.
Because there's a threat bigger than Godzilla. Yeah, that they need destroyed, and the only being that could do that is Godzilla.
Right. Yeah. That's why Moguera teams up basically with Godzilla.
Yeah, they have to team up.
Yeah.
In order to take down Space Godzilla.
Yeah, I mean, other than the battle sequence, it sounds like that's a negative, but like that's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, no, and there's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah.
Like they showcase all of Space Godzilla's cool powers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I guess that's another thing we should bring up is the reasoning destroying the crystals is because that's how Space Godzilla projects his shield.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because every time Godzilla tries to use the beam, the crystals generate like a polygonal shield in front of him that it just deflects it. So they have to destroy that so Godzilla can land a clean shot on him. But yeah, this movie isn't bad.
Yeah, definitely not.
It's not the best in the series, but it's serviceable.
Yeah.
It's fun. It kind of went back to its roots of having like I don't want to say a goofy space monster that Godzilla has to fight.
Yeah, I don't want to say Space Godzilla's goofy.
No, but it kind of like reading the title of it, Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. You kind of imagine like you're reading RoboCop.
Yeah,
and you're just like, oh, that sounds so stupid. But
RoboCop
then you watch it, and you're like,
Space RoboCop.
Yeah.
Or future RoboCop.
Yeah,
or something.
It has one of those like very campy titles to it.
Yeah. It's not very
it's a
creative.
fun movie. Yeah, it's a fun movie though, and I try to like imagine what I would name Space Godzilla, and I'm like, nah, it's just Space Godzilla. I'm like,
yeah,
like what do you gonna call it? And I made the joke when we were watching it. I'm like, well, it's Astro Godzilla or Cosmic Godzilla, and I'm like, nah, Space Godzilla just sounds better.
Cosmozilla.
Yeah, it's. I
think
can't.
Space Godzilla is just
Space Godzilla is just it rolls off better.
Yeah. It's probably gonna become a meme, or people will be annoyed by me always comparing Godzilla things to Power Rangers, but like Space Godzilla
very much
screams Power Rangers to me.
Yeah, he does.
Or Super Sentai, if you want to get technical.
He definitely does. I would agree.
Like the headdress crown thing he has.
Yeah.
Which I love. I think it looks awesome.
Cool.
But yeah, I don't know. I need a Space Godzilla toy.
Yeah, you do. You do. They're hard to come by now. Yeah. But yeah, you do. Hopefully they re-release. I've been saying it for years. Bandai, make a better one. Cause
is that who made that one?
This is a Bandai America one that I repainted, and
is that the one that is at Walmart?
No. Okay. Yeah, this is one I've had for a long time, and I just redid the crystals on it, and I gave him a closed mouth. Hit him with the hairdryer a little bit, and closed up his mouth, because like every picture you see of Space Godzilla, he has like a closed mouth. So I was like, well, I want to do that, and then I took the old arms off of him and put these new ones on. Off of another Godzilla that I was repainting, and I was like, I'm gonna see what those arms like if they fit. And sure enough, they do, and they look better than the arms that he had.
Wow!
And then I repainted the eyes too, like to actually make him look more like Space Godzilla, because he had like real derpy eyes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't have the creativity to do that.
I wonder if you could do it with a Playmates one. You wouldn't be able to have the good arms,
right.
But you could repaint it. You could definitely repaint it and make it look cooler.
Yeah. I'll have to see if we have one.
But yeah, that was Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. So I'll start with rating this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna go 6.5.
Okay.
6.5, and I give it that 0.5 because I love Space Godzilla.
Yeah.
I think the story is a little bit weaker, but when you have to follow up a movie like Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2, you're really not going to have a lot to work with. You're kind of just making a filler movie for this, and between that and the final installment.
Yeah. And that's every TV show or movie series. Yeah. Like that's the battle with everything.
The way that I would describe this, and it's a bad analogy, but you'll understand what I'm talking about. Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and then Destroya is Revenge of the Sith. So good, okay, better.
I would say Space Godzilla is better than Attack of the Clones.
No, like that's what I meant. It's a bad analogy because I'm not saying that's how I would like describe the movies.
Yeah.
I'm just meaning it's good, good.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
That's the way that I would describe.
Yeah, I don't have the perception because I haven't seen the third installment yet.
And that will be the good episode to come.
Yeah. So I guess I have to give a rating. I think I'm just going to ride your coattails because I think you made a good point. 6 is probably where I put it, but I really enjoyed, like, literally everything you said. I really enjoy Space Godzilla. So.
Yeah, Space Godzilla is very...
Let's go 6.5 for me as well.
All right. So that concludes this episode of Subplot of the Godzilla series. We will be... next episode will be a very special episode because we are finishing the Heisei era and
wow, we're done already. And
what was possibly the end of the entire franchise.
Oh yeah.
So we will be watching Godzilla vs. Destroya and the Roland Emmerich rebirth of the Godzilla franchise starting in 1998. So next episode we're going to be talking about the death and rebirth of the Godzilla franchise.
So Destroya is the last of...
Destroya is the last, technically the last. It should have been the last Godzilla movie developed by Toho.
Yeah.
Because they weren't going to make any more.
And the other one you were talking about was America's...
Yep.
Okay.
That was when the rights passed to...
We're going to return to that one.
Yep. We're going to return to that one. And
I'm not mad at that.
No. I think that's going to be a really good episode.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have a lot to talk about on that one with how things went.
Yeah, because I can reiterate,
yeah,
the build up to that movie.
That's right.
20 years worth.
That's right.
More on that next week.
Yep.
Thank you guys for stopping in and watching and or listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on all social medias.
Smash that like button.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll give you something. Probably not, but you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah.
Until you do it. So, thank you guys, and we will catch you next time on Subplot.